Hey, WokeNFree Nation, Newsly is an audio app for iOS and Android. It picks up web articles about the most trending topics on the web at any given moment and reads them to you in a natural human voice.
For the first time in the history of the internet, the entire web becomes listenable. Browse articles from topics you choose and start playing. Stop scrolling, start listening.
You can follow any topic as specific as you like, from sports, science to Bitcoin, or even one of your favorite celebrities. It will find you the latest articles and read them to you aloud.
And they have podcasts as well. Explore trending podcasts from over 50 countries. Our podcast, WokeNFree, is there too.
Now let's get into the episode. Hi, it's Natasha.
And Khalil.
And we are the co-hosts of
WokeNFree.
Thank you for tuning in to our 317th episode of WokeNFree. If you've been tuning in every week for WokeNFree Wednesday, you know that WokeNFree is all about being real and honest with each other and you. We talk about everything and anything important to us, you, the world, and nothing is off the table. This week we're asking the question, what's the most valuable lesson life has taught you? So that's a very profound question, and we are going to answer it, but we also hope that as you listen, you answer this question for yourself as well. And then, is there more? Yes, of course, there's always more. So in addition to listening to this episode, we hope that you've gone to WokeNFree.com to download this episode through the Podbean app. Why? Because if you download it through the app, then you can put in your comments. So you can tell us what you think about this question, what the answer to this question is, and if you have subsequent questions you'd like to raise to us. Any of that and so much more, we really welcome that. Also, if you say to yourself, well, I listen to podcasts on a device where I can't put another app on it for some reason, tears are shed. It's a little bit sad, but that's okay. What you can do still to support us is go to WokeNFree.com and then pick your platform of choice where you will follow and subscribe to our show. So you'll find us on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora. It's a WokeNFree world where most podcasts are consumed. You will find the show. On WokeNFree.com through the Podbean app, you can also click to subscribe to follow the show there. And then for social, we'd love for you to engage with our content. Lots of it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, LinkedIn at WokeNFree. And then lastly, if you have 90 seconds, which is, of course, a statement, not a question, you can go to WokeNFree.com. You can go to the Listen tab, and then you can pick your platform of choice where you review the show. Thank you in advance for the 5-star reviews.
All right. And with that, we probably should not start the conversation, but share a little bit about ourselves. This week, we are asking, would you rather shop exclusively at Old Navy or H&M?
Pointless question. Interesting. Okay, so I would say historically, I would prefer Old Navy to H&M because of a sizing thing. I have wide hips and got to fit the bum and the hips and all of that good jazz. And I've always found that to be a little bit easier from a price point and also from a sizing perspective at Old Navy. But I do think H&M sometimes has some more chicer designs, but also at a higher price point on average. But yeah, I would go with Old Navy. How about you?
Oh, wow. All right. I would go with H&M only because Old Navy, their prices have been rising over the years, but when they were originally out, they were a really good deal. But now I question that, and I don't know. I feel like H&M, you get a better quality, so I'd go with H&M with the more premium feel, but also it's most likely going to last longer than Old Navy, which I think they're a little bit overpriced now because I don't think the quality has risen with the price. So
okay,
that's just what I've noticed, to be honest. So I try not to buy from them anymore. So I would definitely just choose H&M. I value them the most. That's a lesson I've learned over the years of shopping at Old Navy. It's better to go to H&M. Okay. That's one of the many life lessons I've learned. But what's the most valuable lesson life has taught you?
Thank you for asking. So this is a really profound question because it makes you have to pause and really think through all the things that you've learned to date. And regardless of your age and your experiences, there's a lot to consume. There's a lot to take in. And to date, I would say at 37 years old, I sit and I would say the most important life lesson I've learned is that nothing lasts forever. So that is for happiness, for sadness, for success, for grief, for love, for joy, for comfortability, for ease, for excitement, nothing. And that's both challenging and also exhilarating at the same time. And that no matter what, time will pass, and so will those moments, and so will those experiences. So you have to soak them in, you have to take them in, appreciate them while you have them, because they will come to an end. And time moves on.
Wow. Yeah, that's definitely, that's a good lesson. Mine is about choice, and I learned that the choice is always yours. And what I mean by that is you can choose to be happy. You can choose to be sad. People don't. I mean, this comes back to the secret. It's a hard one, though. But this is what it's about. The choice is being yours, and you don't have to always do what society deems you to do. Just because society says this is the right way to do something or how you do it, doesn't mean you have to do it. You know, you can do things your way. I think that was a really good lesson to learn, and not just follow what I see others do.
Yeah,
make the choice the choice is my own. It's not something forced upon me.
Absolutely.
How has your lesson served you to date?
Well, as a person who tends to be a bit of a hothead when I'm frustrated or angry, and I blame that on my Jamaican parents and their Jamaican blood, the fire in their blood definitely generationally passed on to me. And I also see a bit of that spark in KJ. So yay to genes. I would say that because of that, if you are a person who seems to get frustrated and that anger and frustration can live with you a little bit longer than you would like it to be, the more that you hold on to this life lesson of like, hey, I actually don't need to be this angry, or I can let this go, because this moment, I won't even remember this in 6 days or 6 months or 6 years. So why am I getting so vexed? Why am I, right? Like, to try to kind of come down from that anger high and really start to say, wait a minute, like, let's solve, right? Let's get into a place of solution, and then let's get back to a place of peace, because otherwise you're just cutting years off your life unnecessarily for something that's not going to be consequential in the long run.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's helped you with that. Now, I think I just, in terms of how the lesson has helped me, is that I made unconventional choices that I don't think other people would make. So an example is like what we just recently did when we moved from New York to Arizona.
Yeah.
And did that without having, like, I
Job
didn't have
security.
a job. Yeah, I didn't have a job technically. So doing something like that, it was a choice that I made, but I knew that it would be a good choice, and I didn't let anybody else make the choice for me, because most people probably would convince you that you need to stay where you live. That's the easiest thing to do. You'll save money, time, and headaches, and all that stuff. And it's, you're taking a big risk by leaving. But you have the choice to say, I don't care what you're saying. I'm going to do what I want.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, the lesson. That's one of the ways that the lessons helped me.
Okay.
How different would your life be if you didn't learn that lesson?
So I would probably harp on more negativity and things that are inconsequential longer and create more health issues for myself, because people don't want to admit it. But the more that you hold on to anger and frustration and negativity, the more that you actually make your life physically worse for yourself, because you can start to have headaches. You cannot sleep well. You can be irritable, which then causes conflict in the relationships you have personally or professionally. It can be a cascading issue throughout your life. And so if I didn't learn this lesson of like, hey, everything passes, let's not harp on any one thing, because it's all inconsequential in the end. And well, most things are, I would be focused on the things that are not going to be meaningful in the end, and really miss out on the precious moments and the opportunities right in front of me.
Speaking of missing out, that's how I think that my life would be affected if I didn't learn the lesson. But I mean, if I learned it early on, I wouldn't have missed out on, like, one of the regrets that I do have was not playing lacrosse in junior high. Yeah. Because I just didn't think that
you could do it, or
But I didn't. If I knew the life lesson that I knew now, I'd say, yeah, of course I can do it. There's nothing. Just go for it. There's no issues with it.
Yeah, of course.
Just do it. There's nothing to it. But I think if I didn't learn it even to this date, I'd have even more regrets. I would say, man, if only I'd made the choice to just do that and not let other people make the choice for me. I think just learning the lesson has prevented a life of regrets. Because I know there are people that have that, they regret things they did, and they only did it because they were influenced by others. They said, oh, I have to do this because so-and-so needs this kind of support, that type of stuff. So I don't want to live with those type of regrets. So that's how it saved me. Okay. Or helped me.
And now, why would you say this is an important question to ask yourself for us and as well as our listeners?
It's probably good just to take a step back and look at what you've learned on your life journey this far and kind of reflect on, even if some of the lessons, did you learn anything from them? Because sometimes you don't and you make the same mistakes and you'll be like, wait, if I'm making these same mistakes, maybe the universe is telling me something and maybe there's actually a lesson here that I haven't learned. So I think if you reflect, then you can maybe even see the lessons that you learn. You might not even realize that you were being taught a lesson because something keeps happening. Oh, wow. So it's a good idea just to sit back and just kind of think, what have I learned to this point? What has life taught me? Because there's things that you probably have missed, actually, that life is trying to teach you. I definitely can feel that as truth in my own life and completely agree. And I would say I really like this episode topic because I agree with you. I think too many people think reflection is something you do when you're dying in the bed at the end of the journey. And it's like, actually, we can do this on a daily basis. We can do this on a weekly basis, monthly, quarterly, as frequently as you like. And it really shouldn't be at the end of the road. It really should be along the way in the journey because like you're saying, you're going to keep experiencing the same things until you learn that lesson life is trying to share with you. And also you can start to appreciate things more when you reflect upon things. If you don't reflect and sit through and think about what's actually happening, not just the transactions of life, but the experiences and the meaningfulness of life, then you miss out on big portions of success for yourself.
You are now listening to
WokeNFree.
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 A podcast about being real and honest.
That's why it's important to ask this question for yourself. And I would also say it's not just something you do for a Wednesday, one time a year for the rest of your life, but probably revisit this question multiple times a year, multiple years, if not every year of your life.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what is the scenario? It is scenario time. Scenario 1. Chai is a young adult not eligible for alcohol in the United States. She has not learned any life lessons that she can think of, but is planning a trip to Venezuela soon. Is Chai ready to travel outside of the country, even though she has not learned anything from life according to her own self-testament?
You don't even make sense. Like, not one bit. Completely senseless. Is that eligible? Is this a different program? She's not yet an alcoholic. She's not gotten admittance. You don't make sense at all.
That's the way the cookie
completely
crumbles.
Foolish.
I don't control the cookies.
It's an interesting scenario though, because we do want people to understand who are listening to this that life lessons is not tethered to a specific age. You could be 5 years old and have learned a very significant life lesson, and you can also be 50 years old or 500 years old, right? Like whatever the age is, it's irrelevant to the lessons because you could live a long life and also not be quite wise, right? So I just want to throw that out there for folks listening to think through life lessons, not through the tenure of the life, but also the experience lived. Now, granted, if someone feels like they have either been very sheltered or haven't exposed themselves to new things like other cultures or travel, maybe you feel a little bit on the lighter side of containing or having a lot of life lessons, but it doesn't mean you've learned nothing, because that to me seems like she wasn't like a cookie jar that was empty for 18 years. I mean, that to me just seems it's a very interesting way of seeing yourself. But To answer the question, yes, she's ready to travel because it sounds like she hasn't had that experience yet. And so you're never going to know how that's going to go until you do it and travel and experience that. Now, will there be some lessons she might not like from travel? Possibly. But again, only way through something is through it. What do you think, though?
Well, for me, I think age does have something to do with it. So I don't know. That's just my thoughts.
Okay.
If you're too young, I think there's only but so much you could have learned about life. So I don't know. I think that there's still a thing on it.
Disagree?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're on different. We have different viewpoints of that, and to think that is this person eligible to travel outside the U.S. I mean, she of course she can, but I think she needs to be chaperoned or be traveling with friends at least, because otherwise I think this would be a bad situation. I don't think she should travel alone as a young adult. To me, it's not a good idea. So
that to me, I'm not opposed to that because I think there's more safety in numbers, even though multiple groups of people have been kidnapped over the years.
The whole groups themselves have been kidnapped.
Yes. No, just putting it out there for people.
The entire group has been kidnapped. Yeah, that's exactly
1,000%.
Okay.
It's been shown in film as well.
Oh, okay, exactly. I know a lot of films have come out with people.
That like people always assume that it's just like one and done, but it's actually like sometimes they kidnap a whole family. Sometimes they kidnap 5 people.
And we're talking about people traveling from the U.S. to outside countries, not people within their own countries because I know they do that sometimes, is take people hostages and stuff. I'm talking about
what I'm saying
a group of people traveling outside of the U.S.
Negative interactions can happen by yourself in groups as well. So that's how I'll phrase that.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Respectfully disagree.
Yeah. Scenario 2. Willie has studied nearly every career field from medicine to journalism. Will he be able to choose one valuable lesson life has taught him, or is it actually impossible?
And so in this scenario, is Willie 1,000 years old? I'm just trying to understand the tenure that we're working with here.
That's great. Age ain't nothing but a number for you, so it shouldn't even affect your answer, though.
Always,
that's the funny thing.
So it sounds like Willie's lived quite many lives, and
yeah, it could have been. Yeah.
Good for him. Good. And will he be able to choose one valuable life lesson? Yes, because it's going to be the lesson that has seen him through multiple lives that he's lived and multiple careers that he's had. And it's going to be the lesson that's been most meaningful to him. So yes, there's always, people like to be indecisive because it's easier. It's a cop out to be like, hey, I don't know. I can't decide. Yes, you do know. You just don't want to say it or you don't want to realize that for yourself. But it doesn't mean that answer doesn't exist. So yes.
Wow. You think out of all the lessons, he's going to be able to choose one?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything is possible.
So then I guess again we're standing on two different sides of the coins. Like you're on the tail side, I'm on the head side.
Excuse me, don't call my side.
No, I call
I'll
heads.
be on the head side. You be on the tail side.
I'm on the double coin side, so I win either way.
So you're Joker.
No,
okay,
Two-Face.
Joker. Nice.
Two-Face does it, not Joker. He doesn't flip the coins. But either way,
look how you're trying to teach me a lesson. Here we go. Here we go.
I'm trying very hard not to.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying my hardest not to be honest.
Not to teach me anything. Pleasant. Life is about learning nothing.
That's a good life. That's a good life lesson for some people.
Put that on a T-shirt, y'all.
So that's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I think this person is well versed in everything. I don't think he's going to be able to choose just one life lesson that is the most valuable. I can't see that because he knows everything basically. Not that he's the best at everything.
His real name is Yoda. Then you're saying.
I mean, he taught Yoda.
Ah, nice.
Who's Yoda's teacher?
The ultimate.
I mean, I haven't seen the show. They might,
I haven't seen the young and stuff.
No, well, I haven't seen the young Mandalorian or whatever that's called. That might show his master, but this Willie guy taught the master that taught Yoda. If there was a master shown in the show. I don't know. I haven't seen the show. I'm just taking a guess.
So we're just pontificating on nonsense. Yep. Keep going.
It's a double pontification. Hey. If Yoda did not have a master shown in the show, he is the master. If he did have a master, this is the master of that master.
Okay.
See? So that's all I'm saying.
This is a riddle that has no end.
No end indeed.
Yes.
You got that correct. Because it's, how can you, I just can't see it. This guy he knows everything.
Just live too much, knows too much, can't pick one. Okay.
Yeah, there's no way. I mean, you can, but I don't truly think that's the most valuable then.
Okay.
Scenario 3. Opal believes she is living in a simulation, so thinks that she can't learn anything in life since it is in fact not real. Can Opal have life lessons even though she is living in a simulation?
Yeah, in the asylum.
So you could have a life lesson in the asylum?
Has no one watched Girl Interrupted?
But how is the life lesson in the asylum?
Have you watched Girl Interrupted?
That's my
There's
question.
many lessons to be learned in mental institutions.
Even though you don't feel that you're in the mental institution.
Just because you don't feel it doesn't mean it's not happening.
Hey, don't ever say that phrase ever again. That phrase is a dangerous phrase in and of itself. You cannot say that phrase as a dangerous phrase. The most dangerous phrase.
And you thought you were going to teach me nothing.
It's a very dangerous phrase, though.
Okay, well, shout out to Opal. That's an awesome name. And
nice. Oh, wow. That's good.
Is, I would say, even if
say.
you think that life is but only a simulation, there's still lessons to be learned in the simulation. Have we not gone into meta? So...
Oh, you learn how to put the headset on,
Facts.
right?
There's a life lesson to be learned.
That's how you get it
all
nice
the
and
way
snug.
around. Yes.
Okay.
Snug as a bug in a rug. So, yes, even in the Matrix, did Neo not learn in the Matrix? Yes, he did. He learned how to bend it and whip it and crack it and all that good jazz, but he learned nonetheless within it. So, just because something seems fake or seems like this can't be real doesn't mean that there isn't a lesson to be learned.
Whip it real good.
Hey, get it, Willow. What?
Because I heard that. Well, you're thinking of whip your hair back and forth.
Yes, whip your hair.
I was thinking of an older song.
Go ahead, Willow.
But yeah, I mean, that's one reference. But there's an older song than that, so just putting that out there.
Okay.
And now the truth is, can she have life lessons? Well, yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're in a simulation or not. A lesson is a lesson, right? That doesn't. You could call the lesson fake, real, whatever. It's something that you learned. Somebody else might have learned it, but
exactly.
A lesson is a lesson, and it's a lesson. If your life is a simulation, then it's still a life lesson. And just because it's simulated doesn't mean anything. Yeah. So those video game characters, if they're learning lessons in there, they're learning lessons. It's whatever.
Flawless victory.
Yeah. Like, Scorpion learns that he lost to Sub-Zero. It's a lesson. It doesn't matter. That's not real. So that's not a good excuse to say you didn't learn a life lesson, that you're not, just because you're not real. Like, the digital assistants can learn lessons too.
I think isn't that a part of how they grow? They have to learn. Don't they have to learn our behavior for them to?
Well, who are you talking about?
Like AI
right
assistants and things like that. Like, don't they have to learn more? Like, more input they have, the more output, the better output they have, right?
Yeah, I mean, people would argue if they're learning though, or if they're just recording.
Okay, gotcha. Well, I know that phrase can be a little bit.
Learning is a little.
But either way, more input leads to different or more or better output. So.
Better.
Learning is a requirement, whether it's real or fake.
Yeah, that's the key. It doesn't matter that it's fake. Just so because there's people out there that believe this, right? I can't say the number.
Listen,
we could do an episode on it probably.
Prove to us that we are really here, right? Who knows?
There's no proof. You can't prove that.
Exactly.
Anything you show could be said in
simulation. Phrase, even if you.
What's the phrase?
No, we said I can't say it again. So.
Oh yeah, don't say that phrase. Yeah, that phrase is it's too specific and too general. Where it's a phrase that you shouldn't say, right?
Gotcha.
It's something that could bring up like bad memories in certain people. So you can't be.
I don't know what type of trauma you're alluding to. But
no, I'm just saying in general, there might be people that it might trigger somebody. I wouldn't want you to trigger them unnecessarily.
No, I'll leave that space for you. And with that, we are at that time again. Thank you for arriving at the end of our 317th episode of Woke and Free. Quite the episode asking the question, what's the most valuable life lesson that life has taught you? So with that, what do folks need to do now, Khalil?
Come back next week for the new Woke and Free Wednesday episode. Make sure you follow us on social media to follow along the conversation, and make sure you tune in next week for Woke and Free Wednesday to join the conversation at WokeNFree.com.
Absolutely. And if you are interested in sharing your story or want to collaborate with us, we'd love to hear from you on our contact us page at WokeNFree.com. That's WokenFree.com. And for social media, again, please find us and connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, and LinkedIn at Woke and Free. And then all sponsorship or other types of collabs, best place to reach us is not my LinkedIn inbox. It is our contact us page at WokenFree.com.
If you didn't already subscribe, please do share the episode and make sure you come back to join the conversation every Wednesday for Woke and Free Wednesdays. Remember, Woke and Free is more than a podcast. It is a way of life. Till next time.